Hello.
Hello. How you doing, Nadine?
Just doing fine. How about you?
I could be doing a lot worse.
Well, good. So we have everybody signing in now, except for Gail.
Hi, Nadine.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not sure Gail's going to be here.
Yeah, Gail's can't make it. She has an emergency client.
Yeah, she does.
She sent a message.
Right.
It's David.
Jason.
Hey, Tammy, how are you doing?
Two,
I'm good. I want to see your shoelaces.
Oh, yeah.
You promise?
Hold on. Instead of me like lifting my foot up, let me take off my shoes.
Now, if you asked me to do that, I'd probably fall over in my chair.
See if I can get those. You got the pink shoelaces for
Oh,
pink.
Look at those shoelaces. Oh my
that's
God.
awesome.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Doing all right. How are you doing, Jim? I mean, not Jim. It's been so long since I've seen you. I can't remember who you are anymore.
Background.
I've been staying in like a smart person my age.
Yeah,
Right.
trying to do the same thing. Or stay in my office with, with the door shut and my air filter and UVC light on. So, yeah.
Well, we just learned today you really don't have to worry about all that.
But
We were told today that you don't really have to worry about the virus as much. I mean, somebody up on high said that.
we were told that it was going to go away in just a day or two. It was going to be a miracle and it was going to be gone.
Well,
But we heard that, what, 5-6 months ago, didn't we?
well,
So,
he's
can't
in the
always believe
hospital
what you hear.
now.
Yeah.
And he just said it wasn't as bad as they said it was. And so
Yeah,
the
somebody
doctors
that's
are saying something else.
Oh,
I heard early on someone said, well, this is the boomer eraser. We're just going to get rid of all you old people.
Oh, okay.
We don't need you around anymore. So this is our attempt to.
well, if they're shooting for somebody in particular, they're missing the target.
I think in general, anybody over 60.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, the mortality rate, ladies and gentlemen, is incredibly low for everybody. So it's actually, I think we're moving into better times.
Well,
More people are dying, but
I'll feel better. I'll feel better when I have a vaccine.
Amen.
Not from China, not from Russia.
yeah, they talk about the fact that, of course, the coronavirus is what we have with the cold, what we have with the flu, and now what we have with COVID-19. It's a coronavirus. They're all coronaviruses.
right.
So it's just a matter of, with cold, you can get one, once a month. You can get it 5 times a year. All you do is take something to make you feel better, because there's no cure for it. They still don't know how to vaccine against it. So
But there's too many, especially with the flu. There's so many strains they just can't get them all into one vaccine.
I think the best they've done is about 50% effectiveness, or 60%. That's the best they've been able to do with the flu.
That's a pretty solid number if they can get that high.
Yeah, but usually it's in the 40%, 30 or 40%.
If you're not within that 40%, though, it doesn't matter if it's 100%.
That's right. It's true.
You can take every vaccine in the world. Shingles, pneumonia, whatever you want to take. And you still might get it.
I tell you what, I've had some friends that have had the shingles, and that's something
David, I had it earlier this year, and I must have had the mildest case of shingles on history. No pain, none whatsoever.
Wow.
just a little itching when everything started healing up. But it was just, everybody said, well, it's going to start hurting. I said, well, I'm waiting for it. Never did.
Well, my best friend from college got it down his throat.
Oh, good grief.
Oh,
Oh, good grief.
ouch.
Yeah, he said it was horrible.
I would assume so. That's not very good.
No.
Takes away
Tammy,
the
we
joy
saw
of
the
eating.
picture behind you before, and I thought it was a plate and you were fixing something to eat, and now I see it's a picture.
It looks
Oh,
like bacon.
yes.
It looks like bacon. I want
I
some
was going to
bacon.
say,
You
I was
want
going to
some
say,
bacon, don't you, Dave?
I was going to say look more like liver, but I didn't want to say that.
It's actually a flower.
Yeah, see, 2 flowers.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that post where someone made 2 masks out of bacon?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the kind of mask that I wear.
Yeah. You use the mask all day, then just eat it.
Yeah.
Finish it off right then.
Oh
For
boy.
sure. So what is that scene behind you, David?
That's Dubai. I'm on
Oh.
Prince Jamal Highway, going
Okay.
between Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Okay. It's pretty.
Did you take it, or is it just the scenery?
I took the picture. I was in a
Was it-
taxi cab. No, Dubai is not any place that I'd want to go to. I've been there 5 times, and it's hell. Of course, I'm always there in June, but it's hell. I mean, it's just hot, and they've got beautiful buildings and great places to spend money, but good golly, it's hot.
Mm.
When you have 130 degrees with 85% humidity, there's nothing comfortable.
I think you're supposed to be dead when that happens.
Well, I think you're supposed to be, but nah.
130
So what are we
degrees.
going to have tonight on a meeting? Is there anyone coming, or Jason, are you going to?
Jason.
Okay, so
Oh, there he is.
we're watching it. Does anybody know if Bill Terrell is on the, or I'm sorry, Bill Terry on the phone, on the call?
We didn't even know you were on there.
Yeah, I'm here. There's a couple of phones on, and I don't know the numbers. We're looking for Bill Terry, but it doesn't look like he's on. So, okay, so Gail is not able to be here. She had to be on an emergency call with a patient tonight, and so either I can do this, or one of the other, Tammy maybe, or one of the others can share the meeting. I'm happy to run through it if you want me to.
Go ahead.
But Tammy, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
That would be great if you would do that. I would feel more comfortable with that.
All right. Okay, fine. Okay, well then we'll get started. We'll call the meeting to order. First is the roll call. So Mary Bonner,
Yep, I'm here. That's me.
Gail Hobson is not here. Nadine,
Here,
Bill Terry, I believe is absent. Tammy Vaughn,
Here.
Christy Wright from the Park Board. Don't see Christy. Tom Sherman, I see. Liz Ross, I see from the Park Board.
Yeah, and Christy emailed me and said she wouldn't be able to make it tonight.
Okay. All right. So we've got a quorum. And the next item is approval of the minutes from February 19th. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. We need to go, let's approve the agenda first. If someone will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda. I don't know what it is, but I'm fine with it.
Second?
Second, Tammy.
Tammy, is that you? You're muted.
Yes, that's me.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna stay unmuted.
Okay. All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
very good. All right. Next is approving the agenda. Let's see, approve the minutes from February 19th.
It's kind of hard to do.
Do we have those minutes?
Yeah, they should be sent. They should have been sent to you some time ago.
And I think I'm sending this.
Oh, yes. I have them here. I make a motion that we approve them.
I'll second.
For coronavirus.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and just to remind you all, the voting members are Tammy and Mary and Nadine. And so that was unanimous. Okay, project update. And this is where I'll introduce this, and then we've got John Slatterly on with FSB to show some diagrams. But you know that the last time we met, the ad hoc group voted to request that the council seek additional funds to make up the delta in the proposed cost estimate to build the entire project out all in one phase. That cost estimate is 12.4 million. The delta, or the amount that we're short, is 4.8 million. And so that was going to be included as part of a GO bond issue that was voted on August 25th. Unfortunately, that was not successful. So we're back to our original budget now, our current budget of 7.6 million. We have not changed the project at all in terms of the proposal and the conceptual drawing. You'll see it here in a minute. You'll see, you'll recall what we looked at before when we saw the whole project. And since then, we've gotten a little further along with Norman Regional Hospital. One of the other actions that was taken at your last meeting was to recommend that the Porter campus, Norman Regional Porter campus area would be the site for the senior center project. So we've drilled down a little further into the options. And in a minute, John's going to show you some diagrams of where we could potentially locate the facility that you saw that the previous design was representing. Understand that we're not totally married to that footprint. It can be morphed and shaped and reshaped if it's needed to be, but we took what we had and looked to see how it would fit on the Porter campus locations. So what we
Now,
need to do.
I have a question.
Okay,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question. Is that how it can fit? Is that with the full plans, or is that, okay, good.
Yes, yeah, that's full build out. And so what we need to do tonight is review the options here and select or give us your opinion about your preference, which option you would prefer in terms of the location at the Porter campus. And then we'll talk a little further about possible funding and what other kind of recommendation you might want to make to the council. So with that, John, I'll turn it over to you. Jason, I think John's going to need to share his screen, and if you can make that happen, then John can show you some options.
Don't let me know if you have any problems.
Excellent.
Wait, Nadine, go
Yeah.
ahead.
May I ask a question? We know if we put it down on the south, by the campus, the land is free. I mean, if the city owns it. What about the hospital? Do we have to put any money on the land there, or will it be free too, or do we have to spend money on it?
That's a great question, and I think the answer is it depends. The city is in discussions with the hospital about selling the land that the city owns on the Porter campus to them, and or trading them for other property or another building perhaps. So I'm not sure if we would have to purchase any land from them. I doubt it, because I think we own land on the Porter campus, and the plan would be to, in a replatting process that they would do, clean up all the ownerships. And so we would end up with the land that we need for this project.
Hey, Judd, I think Mr. Split might be on from Norman Regional. If he can turn on his mic, and he might be able to explain that as well.
Okay, very good.
He just texted me. He was on, but I don't see if his mic's working or not.
Jason, can you hear me? This is Richie.
Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Judd was doing a great job of explaining the current situation, and the answer to all of those comments is yes, there are options and negotiations underway and trying to get to that final decision point of land and value and possible swap and the like. So that is well underway, but not to conclusion yet.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions before John takes over? Okay, go ahead, John. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Judd. As Judd said, my name is John Slatter with FSB A&E Architecture and Engineering, Senior Architect and Senior Project Manager there. We would like to show you today some of the Porter campus and where the Senior Wellness Center for the City of Norman can go and the configurations that it can take. I'll take you through not only the streets that surround it, the Norman Regional Hospital that is adjacent to it, but of course some of the issues in power lines and sewer that I've noticed there as well. So tell you what, let me show you my screen. Just a second. Well, I have Google Maps up. That's nice, but that doesn't help us at all. Hold on just 1 second. No, it's not coming up. Hold on just 1 second. Go down and go find it. Make sure it's there. And sure enough, there it is. Are you allowing me to have the screen?
Yes, you should have it. Should have Billy's. If not, I can share my screen, John.
I keep hitting it, but unfortunately it doesn't come up. Hold on, let me try one more time. How about that? Can you see that, ladies and gentlemen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. This is for the City of Norman, of course, the Senior Wellness Center, as we've described in our previous ad hoc meetings. And from the January and February ad hoc meetings where approval was given, the building has not changed. I've kept that pristine. It's only its location and facement that I'm going to go in through. This is the one that we presented in the last one. Let me bring everyone up to date to make sure that everyone's seeing the same thing. There are 4 major elements to this building. We have the pool area, which includes dressing cabanas, bathrooms, and of course, mechanical and storage for that pool. Adjacent to it in the orange, you're going to see gymnasium, fitness, weight training, and of course, a track that would go all the way around it. In the green, you're going to see the classrooms and the multipurpose, from dry arts to game rooms to multipurpose in the center, all the way over to classrooms and, of course, senior wellness. The last major element of this is the part that brings it all together. This is the lobby, the lounge, and the common spaces, which starts at the lobby, which is the main entry right here, to a lobby, to seating areas, corridor that stretches all the way from one end to the other. Of course, an area for reception, and then of course for senior lounge. The only other element you're going to see here, ladies and gentlemen, is the admin space, which we've done in red just to show it to you. It is right off the main entry, and of course there's just a little electrical there. So now they've given you the options of how this was laid out originally, and it's still in that version, not only from the February ad hoc meeting, but today as well. Every version where I show you where this can be placed on or near the Norman Regional Hospital will have this configuration. This is a space shot of the Norman Regional. And you'll see here, to give you a frame of reference, is the Norman Regional Hospital and the surrounding parking that's going with it. All the way down, all the way up from Robinson Street, all the way down here to Ritchie Street, and of course the hospitality building that is currently right there. Where we are going to be focusing is right here. You'll see this is the southwest parking, the southeast parking, the central parking, and then right across from Ritchie Street, which right here, you're going to see the hospitality, a large parking space, and then an adjacent parking space that is directly associated with that hospitality building. And then, of course, this little part down here is a virgin green space, which means it has not been touched and has not been developed to date. Now, all this is to lead you to two more items. Right here is a new for new, which is a gift shop, basically. In the upper left-hand corner right here is storage building number C for, letter C for the Norman Regional Hospital. Move forward. This is option number one. You're going to see we are in the southwest corner of the Norman Regional Porter campus, and here's the Norman Regional Hospital right up here. You're going to see we've placed the full Senior Wellness Center facing north with view to the south. We are right up against Virgin Street, Ritchie Street, right to the south, and we have Porter to our west. Main entries to date, we've used the drive aisles of the hospital to make an entry piece here and an entry piece here. There is no reason we can't come directly from Porter Street legally, but there are some problems with power and sewer that run right through there. So therefore, I've just made for the time being, I've made the entry pieces here. Our objective, ladies and gentlemen, was to always keep at least about 100 plus parking spaces, be them ADA handicap accessible or normal. Now, all of these renditions that you're going to see here not only have the campus and a green space around it, but are also going to show the porte-cochere for entry, so covered entry piece for drop off and pickup. The only piece that I do not show is covered parking. Within the original diagrams and the original plans that were approved by this ad hoc committee, there were covered parking. These renditions are not to say that does not exist. It's just that the renditions change from slide to slide, as you'll see. And to keep them covered, we want to keep them covered towards the south. So south keeps changing, of course. So they're all here. I just not showing them right now. To get into a more detailed version of it, you're going to see we have Porter, Main Street there, Ritchie to the south, and then of course the drive aisles of the property surrounding it. Building to the south, facing to the north, porte-cochere here, and over 100 parking spaces dedicated to this wellness center. Yes, ma'am.
Is that proposed where you have the proposed site option 1? That's that light there, isn't it? Is
Light,
that
ma'am?
the light on Porter? No?
No, actually not.
Okay,
All we have,
okay.
no, go ahead, ma'am, if you'd like to, if you have anything more.
No, I just wanted to know what that little red blotchy thing was there in Porter, and I thought it was maybe that light, but I must be
No,
up
no.
further. Okay,
That north entrance, where it says proposed site option 1,
right,
that is Johnson. And Johnson has a light.
okay,
Yeah, the
Okay.
light right there, there's a light at that location.
okay, that's what I want to ask. Okay, thank you.
My mistake. I misinterpreted your question. I thought you were talking about just the red symbol that we have there.
I just think it's nice that there's a light there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That is option number 1, and I'll be glad to go back through these slides if you have any questions or indeed in-depth questions about them. But for the moment, we move on forward. Now we've gone from the southwest parking lot to the southeast parking lot. We have taken the building, we have put it up against Finlay Street, and we have a view directly out from Finlay Street from the pool and the exercise area. And of course, the main facing is now to the west. We have parking lot. We have a main entry off this inter area for the Norman Regional Hospital. Plus, if you look right here, this is an existing lane that already is in place. Without touching that, all we did was make an entry piece off into the rest of the parking, and of course, right into a street that leads right to a major public street. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. You'll see that we outlined the area in red that we're touching, that we're trying to affect. The only reason we built this, ladies and gentlemen, was because the parking there is not indicative to the parking that we're trying to give. It goes at a different angle, and so we just simply created an island for aesthetics and another drive aisle to complement this one so that it's easy entry, easy exit, depending on which way you're going, further into the hospital to the north or towards Ritchie Street to gain access outwards. Option number 3 is in the exact same place. The only difference we've made here is we've taken the building, turned it 90 degrees so that the back is facing the Norman Regional Hospital, and the front is facing due south. Everything's the same. We still have the parking, the handicap parking, and the entry and the exit. The difference is we have one main entry right off Finlay Street. The rest of the entry exits come directly to this drive aisle that already exists. And there it is in detail. You can see once again, we have the main building, southern facing for all the crafts rooms, multipurpose rooms, general rooms, wellness, and of course, northern facing for the pool and the exercise areas. The last option is a little more complex. Let me walk you through it. What we've taken is we've taken the building all the way down to its uttermost southeast corner. We have taken over part of the parking, which is right here, to the existing hospitality building, which is right here. That doesn't mean the hospitality can't take over this parking or use other parking, but we have taken over that parking. We have taken over the virgin space right here, which is undeveloped land. We have also taken Ritchie Street and cut it. Ritchie Street has never been a through street, but it has the potential to be such at almost at any time because it goes almost all the way through and is cut. In this version, we cut it completely. It will never become a through street. Here are the pluses though. Not only do we put the senior wellness down into a corner, get it away from the main parking of the Norman Regional Hospital, but we also take our parking and bring it up into an existing space right here. And we keep the new for new building, don't have to demolish it. We keep building C, storage, right here. We don't have to demolish it. We still have one entry that's off a main street on Finlay, plus you have an exit that goes right into Ritchie and continues all the way on to Porter. I'll bring you into the detail of it. The new, as I said, the new for new is kept so that nothing, new for new parking would somewhat, but not completely, adjoin the parking that we're proposing here, because you can see it right here. But of course, there would be some overlay. One of the best options is these parkings blend one into another so that there's no need to restripe. The last thing I wanted to show you was a conglomeration of how all these come together. Now, as I said, here's the Porter campus right here. And we show you option 1 where we would take over that parking. Option 2 and 3 are a blend, one over the other. It's just depending on which way you're facing the building and which way the parking is going. And the last one, option 4, is taking over this lower hand corner, which is taking over some of the parking of the hospitality and moving into some parking of the Norman Regional. One thing I'd like to note to everybody is when we developed this, everything along Ritchie Street, right here where my cursor is going, has high voltage electrical power. That doesn't mean we have to hit it. That doesn't mean any of these options hit it. But option 4 has a little bit more interaction with that high voltage power, where all the other options, 1, 2, and 3, do not. They miss it completely. Last thing I'd like to show you is these individually, and these are numbered 1 through 4. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, we have option 1, how that interacts with the Norman Regional and Porter Street. On the right-hand side, you have option 2, which interacts with Finley and once again with Norman Regional and touches Ritchie. Option 3, which is in the exact same position as option 2, just as a different configuration of the land we use, but still has taken the new for new and the storage building number C into effect and destroying those to make this. And then option number 4 is of course missing those options altogether, but has the minus of cutting off Ritchie. It does have interaction with the high voltage wires that are running right along Ritchie, and of course brings us all the way down into undeveloped land right here. There's no problem, ladies and gentlemen, with undeveloped land. We do it all the time. There's just going to be need of a subsurface boring exercise to know what that land contains, whereas the other ones are already known from the previous construction. And now I'd like to open it up, of course, to anybody for any questions anybody has, and I'll be glad to rewind this to take us back to those places you need to see.
I would like to know.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Let me add a couple of quick things to one of the concerns that was expressed with some of the prior meetings was about the bus routing. We have a bus stop on Finley already, and it's about just mid block, and so it's convenient to any of the options, 2, 3, or 4. Another comment that I can pass along, and I know, and if Mr. Split is still on the call, he can chime in if he wants to, but he has indicated that the 2 buildings, existing buildings that the hospital owns on Finley, the storage building and the other building there, can go away. So in other words, option 4, we could reshape the parking lot and take that one building away and move some of the parking a little bit closer. And then you've got that option, you're down in the corner, you've got bus stop close by and convenient parking. And then that way the rest of the healthy village can be designed north and west of this location. And this piece can be kind of a corner piece of that plan, if you will. So I don't know, Richie, if you want to add anything to that or not, but those are just some other comments that I could add.
And all of those comments, once again, are accurate. We have some flexibility in the development of the Porter Health Village overall and master planning underway. So each of these options are viable options. It's just a determination of how they work, how they are threaded together with the other buildings that will be on the site. So, Judge, you're exactly right on the existing buildings and structures, and therefore, I think, giving us greater flexibility.
Okay, thanks. Okay, any comments or questions from the committee?
Okay.
I have several. I'd kind of like to know what the hospital is thinking is going to be in the spots around these places. I think that would help us make a better decision about options. What is the hospitality building? I don't know what that is.
So the hospitality building is the structure that we have today. It's like a hotel. We use that for families and visitors who have loved ones in the hospital, and they can stay there at a greatly reduced rate. So that structure is not planned to remain. It may, but it can again be removed.
Okay. And then take like option one. Can you kind of tell us what you're thinking might be around, or you know, what is going to be around that? Like on the other side of Johnson there, you know, in that space.
I'm operating a little in the dark.
Okay.
I've seen the drawings, but I can't, I'm joining by phone, so I can't see it in the presentation currently. So if you'll tell me what it is, I might be able to.
Richie, I can give you a little help. The area just north of option one is where the education center is.
Okay.
And the main entrance to the main south entrance is all right there too.
Okay. So the plan currently is we believe we will be able to retain the education center for the health village, and by doing so, keep it, you know, for hospital use as well as community use. And so that structure, that's good news in my opinion. That's great space.
Mm-hmm.
And so option one would be, as I recall, near there. So the other options or other structures that we're talking about would be the Variety Care, the federally qualified health clinic, having a new building on the campus somewhere in that area. It can be anywhere, but potentially it was originally identified as potentially in that area. The behavioral health is also a structure that we are planning for the facility, and that would be a 48-bed inpatient facility. And let's see, from there in that general area, that's probably all we have identified currently.
Okay. Thank you. So on the Ritchie Street one, you're on the Rich Street, not Ritchie, but Rich Street. That isn't a through street at this time. And if we put our building there, it would make it a through street. Is that correct on option 4?
Not,
No.
this is John. Not
No.
exactly. Oh, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, it would basically function as it does today.
Okay.
It would not necessarily go through.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Hey, John, could you go back to option 4, the closer shot? There you go. Right. So it would be access to the parking lot, but at the same entry where the original street went through, but it would just be access to the parking lot, not to a through street.
Okay. My concern when I ask that is that the neighbors in the neighborhood see that and they'll wind their way through the parking lot and go off into East Rich Street and onto Porter. And I would be very concerned about that.
Could we see all 4 of them on the plaque again,
Sure.
where they are all together?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
That one?
Okay, so it can go south, even option 1 could drop another street south.
If
I mean,
we're,
not that you want to, but it could. There will be something built down there, right?
Yes, I believe it could go to the southwest corner. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richie, but I think that is an option.
Yes, that is an option.
But what would be in there otherwise? Do you know?
No, all of that would be determined by the master site planning that would occur. This is an important step in that process. So the other buildings and the relation to the care or the services that would be provided there would be mapped out according to street access, like has been described, Rich Street, and does it go through another street? Does it go all the way through? Does it curve? So those will determine the parcels of land where specific development could happen. So there is I don't have a definitive answer for you in that parking lot, but it is that southernmost boundary is a brick wall today, and there absolutely could be a structure in that space that's currently a parking lot.
Okay. I like 1. I like 3 too.
I'd like to know, where is the green space that the hospital is going to have in relation to these options?
So that green space is also a part of that site plan, the final master planning for the site. So there have been, multiple options explored. I think in the original concept, it showed almost directly in the middle of the site. So if that remains the case, then each of those options, particularly 1, 3, and 2, would have access to a center park design, if you will, or green space design. But there are multiple options as to how that gets laid out. The greens, that may be a green belt, green space that cuts and weaves all the way through the property, either from east to west or north to south. That is yet to be determined, but it would most likely follow the street access.
Okay, thank you.
Will the whole hospital be torn down?
The majority of the structure, as you see it today, would be removed from that lot, saving the education center. And then we believe there is a building on the north, what we call the northwest tower, that would potentially remain as well. So if you think about the education center and then that furthest northwest building with the helipad on top of the building, those 2 structures appear to be really viable candidates for remaining, and then potentially everything else would be demolished and then reused for the other development.
Okay.
Okay. So our job tonight is to pick which of these options.
Yes, I think that would be helpful if you could identify your priority, your preferred space, and then that can be the beginning of the rest of the master plan work. And also it can be that message would be delivered to the city council so that they could know more in terms of the precise piece of land that we are negotiating for.
Okay, I really, if you want an opinion.
Say that again?
I like option one if you're asking for an opinion.
Will people in on this chance to talk?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to wait till all the board members, or committee members had their chances to.
That's not bad. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get a little bit of a temperature with a blood clot. If it's like right on 102.5,
Who's
Okay.
I think anybody can give an opinion and
Yeah,
then we
go-
can all say what we think, but I'd like to hear from others that
Go ahead,
aren't
Ted.
on the committee.
Yeah, this is Dave Beck.
Dave?
Yeah, I like 3 and 4 for one reason. When I go to Doctor's Park Pharmacy from where I live off of Schultz, I take Finley north just because I enjoy driving through the neighborhood and not down Porter. And it's easy to get in and out of the hospital, and I think it'd be easy to get in and out of these two sites. The thing I like about site number 4 is it basically puts us up against what I would call the south property line in the residential neighborhood, which to me is softer. Seeing as how 3, there's still land available. That I know on the original master plan there was housing on that south side, and I know the master planning is still up in the air as to what could go. One of the things I'm concerned about, I'm glad someone asked about the green space, is these are all fairly tight and concise when you get the number of parking spots that you get and the building. I feel like we've lost, outside sitting places. And maybe it's not in the scale, but compared to the other site that we looked at Andrews Park, we had significant more space to go out and walk and do an outside track area. And so that's the question I'd have, is if there'd be a way to link the green space for this hospital master plan to coordinate and coexist with the senior center site, no matter where it goes.
Absolutely. That would be, that's part of the hospital. Our goal is to connect these spaces to promote that health and wellness, and that interconnectivity is also about access. So yes, get out, walk the spaces connected via sidewalks or whatever they may be. And I would say that would be a priority that we would want to develop into the site.
One
I
other
like
last
the
comment.
green. Sorry, I like the green space in front of option 3, where the 2 roads that are already there come together and they can come in from either side.
Yeah. I was going to make one last comment about the siting. I'm a big fan of passive solar, and either site number, well, they all basically, well, actually no, site 3 and 4, in my mind, give us the best ability to do passive solar heating, and even if you talk about cooling, with the orientation of the building and where we could put glass and where we could leave glass out. To facilitate passive heat gain.
Okay.
One other thing to remember, 2, 3, and 4 all give you access to a current bus stop.
Mhm.
There isn't one on Porter at the present time, but all the option 2, 3, and 4 all have access to Finley, and there is one on Finley.
Right.
That could be moved if it need be a little bit one way or the other to make it more conducive to the location of the health and wellness center.
I think, yeah, that's a great point. I think The east side seems better to me for the bus stop access, and also the comments about the open space or green space, I think are really valid. And if one of these, either 2 or 3, I suppose, or any of them for that matter, are adjacent to that green space, I think that is an added value for sure.
So can we look at option 2 and 3 again?
Absolutely.
Because we know now they're at that existing part on 2 that there's probably going to be a large space of green there. There's already one on the back side.
Would you like to see option 3?
Please. How does that change?
It's the building orientation, ma'am.
Oh, okay, okay.
Can you show 2 and 3 again? 2 is not passive solar. That's the worst orientation is east and west. And we've got the most building footprint facing east and west on this one. That's why I'm opposed to that one. And then number 4, you've got the long part of the building. The design of this building is oriented for that one or that one to use some passive solar.
This one, the parking, there's too much of it going back. We're seniors. We don't want to walk all that way.
Yeah, that's right.
Good point. And that's why I brought up that one building could be removed and the parking could be brought closer. So it would be basically the same as all the other options.
Oh, the new for new, is that what you're talking about, Jed?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then we'd have the green space where it says existing parking, right?
Right.
Right in there, okay.
Don't use a ton of it. Yeah, do you know where to put it? Oh, yeah, you got it right. Yeah, you're right.
So committee members, which ones are a no? For me, it's option 1 is a no.
The bus can't go to number 1.
Right, and it's right out there where there's so much busyness.
Right.
Off of Porter and so on. So
Yeah.
the more we can hide around in the back, the better off I think we are.
Okay, then let's
So
do
it's-
option 4 that does the Findlay Street and the bus stop.
I like option 4.
I don't like it unless you take that last row of parking off and move it sideways, like they said.
Like
Yeah,
Jed said, yeah,
Far out.
yeah.
clearly not-
I agree, Nadine, I agree. But I still like it butted up against that corner there and
I like 2 and 3 both. But we have to go with Dave, whichever way we can get the solar to work better.
are we doing solar? Is solar in there?
Well, I'm talking passive solar. Passive
Oh,
solar
oh,
has to do with how the
oh,
windows
okay.
are laid out and how
Okay.
they can be used for heat gain.
Okay,
You.
sorry, I don't know much about solar.
So 2 or 3, which was the best? So if you have some solar.
Well, number 4, especially if we can take that building out and reconfigure the parking lot to make it as close and convenient.
Okay.
I mean, that building right there, if we would have had an option that got rid of that because we do on other options, that would bring all this parking back into,
Where the new for new is.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would really make it convenient. To me, this is my favorite one.
This is Richie, and I just wanted to add a thought, and it's not a guarantee, but as the master master planning goes for the entire site. If option 4 is your preference, option 4, I mean, I'm overstating my case here, but it could start construction tomorrow because there are very few impediments in that zone. So if we determine that's where that building would be, it would be probably a faster construction start time than would be 2 or even 3, 1 for that matter. So 4 seems to be, in my estimation, based on potential design of the site, that would be the fastest construction start time.
That's a good point.
Well, that's good news.
If we have enough money.
So how many committee members are we
Yeah,
that are
3.
voting?
But we need
3?
probably need somebody to make a motion if you're ready to do that.
I make a motion that we accept proposed site option number 4 and moving the parking lot over new for new. If we can't do that, then I think we need to look at another option.
I think we can do that.
Okay. That's my motion, that we have to be able to move the parking down.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Does everybody understand that?
I'll second it.
Nadine. Okay. Any other discussion on that before you vote? Okay, then all in favor of option 4 with redesigning the parking, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's unanimous. The other part of the conversation somebody brought up a minute ago is relative to funding. And I would think it would be appropriate if you wanted to consider some sort of a motion requesting the council continue to search for supplemental funding to the tune of 4.8 million, so that we could, and also if you want to restate your desire to build the project all in one phase as opposed to doing it in multiple phases. So if you want to send some sort of a recommendation to that effect to the council, that would be appropriate as well.
I make a motion to ask City Council to seek additional funding that would allow us to build this building all in one phase and for them to find the $4.8 million.
Oh, I would hope to second it.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That motion passes too. That is the extent of our information for you tonight in our report. We can move on to miscellaneous discussion if anyone has any.
I do on the plan for the, I've been on this more years than everybody else on this panel. So I know what we need. We need one room in the middle. And right now you have an administration, something in the middle of it. But we need a stage. We need a place where we can have a music room and plays, where we can have a lot of people come in and sit and have seminars or whatever. And it all needs to be in one area. And it looks like the administration building or whatever's in this way right now, that maybe it should be moved over the other way or something out of the way to be sure we have that, because that has always been one of the biggest thing that people have talked about is we can do all these other things, but we need a centralized room where everybody can go in the morning, and they can have dance classes in there, or they can have a play or seminar or whatever. So I would like whatever that administration part moved someplace out of the way and have a room fixed up there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I think these boxes can be shuffled around and relocated, reshaped to some degree without any problem. And if I'm misstating that, John, just correct me. But at this point, it's conceptual, and I think we can make some adjustments like that.
Judd, absolutely. We can move parts around. It's a Chinese puzzle at the moment. We can move any part around and move to any other place and give you new configurations for your approval.
All right.
I
Thanks.
have a question that's probably for Judd. I get asked frequently, what about whatever the city is building down near the railroad tracks in the courthouse? It's supposed to have a senior center in it and a pool and this, that, and the other. Are we duplicating services if that's already in the plans?
Well, that's not a city project, that's a county project. And I'm maybe somebody else on the call more versed than I am about the components of that project, but I'm not sure we're duplicating services. Maybe somebody can help me, but I don't think we are.
Okay,
This
great.
is Richie. I can offer some insight there.
Okay.
So the Cleveland County Healthy Living Block, also known as the Well, is the project you're talking about. And to my knowledge, I've seen the plans, and to my knowledge, there is no pool. I don't know about a senior wellness center. I don't recall seeing that at all. What it is a sort of a multi-roomed, open community space that can be used by all who have interests. There will be I'm going to call it a farmer's market, but I don't think that's what they call it. And so an open air space where you can actually go in and pick up produce and other things such as that. They'll have a kitchen, a demonstration kitchen inside. More Norman Technology is sponsoring that demonstration kitchen. Other multiple meeting spaces, and then the hospital, the Norman Regional Health System, will have an integrated wellness facility inside that building as well. So I don't believe it's a duplication of services at all. It'll be a wonderful community space, but not anything like what you're looking at tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. I would also like to add to the previous question, if I might. The question about usable space, having speakers, et cetera. While that's an excellent idea, you all can pursue that inside the structure. I want to remind you that part of our commitment to the education center, keeping it there, is to do that very thing, is to make it available to the public, as we have been doing. So I don't want you to forget about the opportunity to have, it is an auditorium space, it's classroom space. That would be our goal, is to retain that in the education center as we move forward with the health village.
Great.
Good to know.
They have a stage too.
Perfect.
It's a small one, but we do have a stage.
That's perfect.
But we have snow and rain, so we need something where we're all together. If I go in and make a quilt, or if I do some art, or somebody else plays pool, we want to be all together instead of part of us in one building and part of us in another. That's selfish, I know, but if I'm going to have a building, I want the whole thing.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous comments?
When do we start? Well, once we have the money, I guess, is when we start really putting the blocks to what's going to be in there and all that. Is that correct, Judge?
Well,
Is that the next step?
the next thing that happens, I'm glad you asked that. The next thing that happens is tomorrow night, we're going to do a presentation to City Council at a study session on all of the different Norman Ford projects. And all the ad hoc groups have now met. And I'll be presenting the recommendations from each of the ad hoc groups. And then we'll be looking to the council for basically for a consensus on how to proceed. And in the case of the senior wellness project, you know, the task obviously is going to be to find the amount of money that we need to finish the project out. And I think that they have, if I'm not mistaken, they have on their agenda for a retreat and coming up in the next week or two to discuss options for supplemental funding. And anyway, I guess where I'm going with that is to say that the council will have to discuss the funding options, and once that is determined, if it can be determined quickly, we have our design team on board and ready to start work again, and they will start immediately upon our notice. So they're ready to keep plans going. And John, if correct me, I think we're probably another 9 months or so to finish the plans, maybe a little less than that. And then we would go through bidding and construction. And so that's about how far away it would be before we start.
You are absolutely correct, Jen.
Okay.
Well then, Judd, will you write up something for the city council since you're going to that meeting, or do we need to write something up asking them to look for some money?
No, I'll pass on the motion that you passed tonight, give them that information that was the action of the group. And,
okay.
And we'll send everybody on the ad hoc group the link to the meeting, so you'll be able to tune into the meeting and watch
Oh,
that.
good. I was just going to ask that. Okay, great. That's tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow at 5:30.
5:30, okay.
John, I have one comment. It probably would help everybody if you could do a reconfiguration on the parking for Site 4. So it gives them a little better idea of how much it moves forward and how much it squares things up. Because it'll be significantly different
Sure.
without that building, because you can go all the way to the east.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good point.
it will, I think at least it will ease Nadine a little bit as far as not having to walk half a mile from her parking place.
Right.
I'm sure that FSB can make that change, and as soon as that's done, we'll send it out to the group.
And I also think it's important that the hospital really consider that we're kind of counting on that. We are counting on that space to be green in that choice. So in their planning, it would be good if they could.
Well, I think we share a similar vision, and just how that
Okay.
gets played out, it remains to be seen, but I can tell you that is a part of our vision. And by the way, I thought Nadine was going to get her own parking place right up front.
I hope so.
Of course.
I'm going to be
She is
100 years
right
old. I
there.
might as well.
She is, but
We'll
once in a while
put
she
her
wants to
name-
park out so she can use that as an exercise back and forth.
May I ask where the diagonal line came from in 4? Is there a street there?
You mean this one right here?
Yes.
That is a existing interior autoway for parking currently.
Oh, I didn't know, since we were going to go over to the east, if we just needed to go straight up or if you wanted to go ahead. Just curious.
I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the parking, when we take out the new for new, will go right here. This will be the maximum parking distance you would come from.
Good.
Good. That's good.
Okay, are we done then?
Any other miscellaneous? If not, then we would need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
And I second it.
We're on the same page tonight, Nadine.
Right.
Thank you all very much. And Richie and John, everybody, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Dan.
all of you.
Thank you all.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.